You learn about important research that's happening right on campus. Learn about what the guests did before research, how they got involved in academia, and what kind of impact their research can have on you. The AlmaMAC is covering it all from Thursday 12 to 12:30 p.m. on 93.3 CFMU, redefining radio in your community.
Hello, and welcome to the AlmaMAC. I am your host, Adam, and today I'm with Shawn. How are you feeling today, Shawn?
Ooh, I am okay. I'm pretty okay.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's pretty okay.
Yeah, just okay. It was a long night, actually. I didn't sleep much last night.
Oh.
But
Why
yeah.
is
that? It's too much to explain right now. But yeah, it was a pretty long night.
Okay, fair enough.
Night. Yeah.
Well, I'm feeling inflamed.
Why?
Maybe just a little bit taken advantage of. I don't know. We have two pieces of news this morning. First one is about 23andMe. I know you've heard about this.
Yeah.
Have you done the 23andMe test?
I did. So I was part of a study in 2017 at McMaster. There was a study, and part of the study was getting your 23andMe done for free. So I signed on to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
My parents paid for mine.
Oh, so you did it too.
Yeah.
Cool.
So one of those things, like when 23andMe first sort of came out, people were saying all sorts of things like, oh, are they going to monetize your information? Are they going to sell it to insurance companies?
Yeah.
Like that sounded really bad.
When did you do yours?
Maybe 2 years ago.
Okay.
But I looked into their like disclaimers and whatever waivers and things like that. And it said that they were just going to use it internally. They weren't going to like sell off my DNA information. So it seemed legit.
Yeah, but okay, so when I did it, I also looked at there's so many forms when you're doing the 23andMe because you're dealing with your own genetic data, right? Mm-hmm. And I remember one of the things that they ask you specifically, do you want your data to be used for future studies? Do you want your data to be stored here? Do you want the data to be discarded immediately? Like, how do you want us to manage these data?
Mail it back to you.
Yeah. Mail me my DNA, my saliva. But yeah, no. And I think a lot of people were like feeling confused because they were like, oh, I didn't consent to this. But really, a lot of people, we see these privacy statements and we just click, yeah, agree, next, without actually reading it. But it was there.
So the story, I guess, is that they used all of this data that they've collected that we paid them to collect. And they, I guess, developed a specific type of drug to fight to fight inflammation.
Oh, that's why you're feeling inflamed?
Yes. And,
I get it. But
then they licensed it to a pharmaceutical company.
Yeah, in Spain.
Yeah. So that's
to help fight psoriasis. I think this is amazing, to be honest.
Yeah, I think the only thing that could rub people the wrong way is that a lot of the times when you volunteer for studies, either they like compensate you or you do it for free or something. In this case,
you pay them.
They're getting paid both ways, and it feels a little bit exploitative, but it's so powerful to have all that data.
I didn't even think about it that way, that you...
I think this is the last time there's going to be a company that you pay to take your genetic data. I think it's going to change.
Do you?
I think so.
How? Like, what would cause that change?
Actually, that's a good point. I was thinking it was kind of similar to like how Google takes all of your like analytic data and then uses it to market off of you.
Yeah, but so sequencing is not a cheap process, right? So the Human Genome Project, billions of dollars was pumped into that to even just get it off of the ground. And now because there's such a high demand for sequencing, even my own PhD project, a big chunk of it is sequencing, and it's so expensive. And that's, it's extremely expensive to get the sequencing done. Although it is comparatively cheaper to like 30 years ago to get sequencing done, because now you can just spit into a tube and pay $200, right, to get the 23andMe or any other kinds of genetic tests like that. But yet there's still going to be a cost attached. Though the demand is increasing and it's getting cheaper, I don't know. what it would look like for.
Yeah, I don't know. It's almost like a crowdfunding thing, but instead of money you're putting in, it's like you're putting in your data. I don't know.
Yeah,
Somebody's
we'll
got to
see.
think of a cool scheme.
There's so many now secondary tools now that you can upload your 23andMe data or any other kind of genetic testing data. You can upload it to these secondary sites, and they can do other analyses on your data, which it's really interesting. And it was last year, I think, someone uploaded their DNA into this repository, and they also committed their second cousin committed a crime. I should really fact check this. But anyways, they caught the criminal through mining this secondary database that someone consented and willingly put their data into this secondary data set, because like at the crime scene there was some kind of biological sample left over, and they sequenced it and they traced it back to one of these data sets.
That's crazy.
I know. Now that is where like ethical considerations come in, but you still consent to upload your data onto this secondary site. So what can you really expect?
Wow. Weird.
Yeah.
This feels like science fiction, but it's science
It's
fact.
real life. We need an entire show to just talk about that.
Yeah, maybe we should devote something to that.
Yeah.
Anyway, we have another news story, unless
Yeah.
you have another point to make on this.
No, I think it's great that they have so much data to develop a drug, a drug that is useful for so many people. And they're developing for other drugs as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So...
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. They shipped the licensing of this one particular drug to another company. They're going to do clinical trials and finish off the development. But I guess they have it in the works to start doing their own clinical trials.
Yeah, that's amazing. They probably would have never envisioned that. Or who knows, maybe they did from day one.
Yeah.
But it's incredible. So if you're looking for a job, you should look into big data.
Oh, yeah. Jesus.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah.
So what's the other news story? It's
there's
more scary.
Yeah, there's an outbreak right now in China with the coronavirus.
So what's this coronavirus?
So this coronavirus, so it's contracted, and people who contract the virus get flu-like symptoms, and it's really scary in China right now. I know people in China right now, actually in that city called Wuhan, where the virus originated. And it's just a very scary time because masks have run out of all of the stores. The stores are depleted of food and groceries. It's scary because it's reminiscent of the swine flu, these other viruses that just pop up seemingly out of nowhere. And they're saying that this originated from a snake or two types of snakes. Is what I've seen. Yeah.
So yeah, I think a lot of these end up being transmitted from another species to humans. That's often how a lot of that works.
Mm-hmm.
And this one, the stories I read said somewhere around a fish market, potentially snakes or eels in that area, but there's still a lot of missing information. It happened really fast.
Yeah, so I saw that it was reported that it's from these two particular snakes, the Chinese crate and the Chinese cobra. They're saying maybe the original source of this newly discovered coronavirus. But scientists have done their tests on the actual virus, and they say it doesn't seem to be behaving in a mutated kind of fashion, which,
treatable for the most part?
Well, so far, 17 people have been confirmed dead, and hundreds of people have contracted the virus in China. It has spread also even to the U.S.
Yeah, that was big news. Tuesday, I think they had a reported case in Washington State.
Yeah, so it has spread all throughout China, infecting people in Thailand, Taiwan, Japan, Republic of Korea. And this is all from World Health Organization and Chinese state media. And the World Health Organization defines it as a global health emergency and a public health emergency of international concern, which is not good.
Yeah. I also read, I think maybe 24 hours ago or so, there was a news story. They were holding 6 different people in Montreal. They they suspected they might have some symptoms. One of them was released for sure as of maybe 16 hours ago.
Yeah.
But in terms of Canada, our health minister people, whoever it is that does those announcements.
The Ministry of Health.
Ministry of Health. There you go. Not too concerned at the moment.
Yeah.
Just because, there aren't any direct flights from that area of China to Canada.
No, and the Chinese government has also barred any kind of transit out of that city, which is a scary period right now for people living there, because they no one wants to go outside. They just want to stay in their homes, but eventually food does not multiply, right? Unless you have plants that can give you food in your home. So it's really scary. If you have the slightest cough, you're like, oh my god, do we have the coronavirus? And then you get scared because you have to potentially go into the healthcare system where you could possibly
that just increases your risk.
Yeah, I saw an article actually that this one person, it was confirmed by the Chinese state media that this one person gave the coronavirus to 15 other health officials in the hospital. They went in for a simple neurosurgery. So they didn't go in with any flu-like symptoms or anything. They just went to, get a surgery, and yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things that can sort of lay dormant or so for about a week or two before symptoms show.
I saw that the incubation period was 2 to 7 days. So I guess, after 7 days, incubation period according to WHO is 2 to 7 days. So anytime after 7 days, between 2 and 7 days, you'll start to show symptoms. And the symptoms are include coughing, fever, breathing difficulty, and pneumonia.
Basically the most generic flu-like symptoms you can imagine.
Yeah, but apparently there's a different, I don't know. The people that I know there are saying that there's a difference in the type of cough. If it's a wet cough, it's probably not coronavirus. But if it's a dry cough, it might be. I don't know. I haven't seen that reported anywhere, but just from the people on the ground that I know there. In the actual city, it's scary actually. I would really love if my people there could not be there. But best case scenario. Actually, that's why I was up last night trying to find solutions for my friends there who
find a safe.
Yeah, because it's a really scary time.
Yeah, that's brutal.
Yeah.
Anyway, we should probably hit our commercials.
Yeah.
And then we will be right back. So let me just. This is always the struggle of this show. Find the commercial. Here it is.
Well, I was told that I could listen to the radio at a reasonable volume.
There are simply too many notes, that's all. Just cut a few and it'll be perfect.
By the powers vested in me by the Federal Communications Commission, I command you to get on the microphone in a serious manner and continue this broadcast.
93.3 CFMU, seriously redefining radio for over 30 years.
This is my boomstick!
And we are back. That was a very fast commercial.
Yeah, short commercials. Good.
Yeah, that's nice. All right, so you have some news.
Yeah, so another reason why I was up last night, in addition to worrying about my friends in China, was last night I also got an email saying that my first results chapter. Okay, wait, no. This is my second results chapter. Anyways, one of the chapters of my thesis was accepted for publication. Yay.
Woo.
I wish we had a soundtrack that does the audience share. Whoa!
We can maybe throw that in post. That's a thing, right?
Yeah.
Post.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was exciting. And so it was very contrasting feelings last night of excitement and also terror.
Yeah, jeez.
I still haven't really consolidated all of these feelings, but they're...
Here, we'll talk it out.
Yeah.
Good. Live.
But yeah, so I was very, very, very elated to see that my paper was accepted. I was working on collecting these data for 4 years. Yeah, 4 years.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And when I first started to collect these data, I didn't really think. Okay, so all right. So when I started to collect these data, it was kind of like a side project in a sense. Well, at least to me, like because I had just joined the lab, I wasn't really sure what I was doing. You know, like as anyone when they first join a lab.
Yeah,
in
one of
grad
those
school.
like get you introduced to the lab, keep you busy kind of project.
Yeah, except that it included travel. So I had to travel to Barbados to collect these data. And in my mind, I was collecting data for one thing, but then I was like, I'll just start collecting data for this other project in addition to what I am currently doing, and it'll give me some interesting things to look at. But I didn't really know it was going to potentially lead to a standalone publication. I thought it would be a cute little addition to what was going on. But yeah, wow, it led to a paper that was accepted last night.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So this is one chapter of your thesis that you're putting together.
Yes. So I'm trying to do the sandwich thesis.
Okay.
So the sandwich thesis, for those listening, if you don't really are familiar with the PhD process, at McMaster University, you can do what you call a sandwich thesis, which means that you publish at least 3 papers, or you publish 2 papers and submit one, and those are your results chapters for your thesis. And in addition to that, you also write your introduction, methods, and discussion, and submit that as your thesis. So it's a little different from the traditional thesis where you have to write out each results chapter. You just literally submit the PDF embedded version of your chapters of your publication as chapters for your thesis. So that's what I'm hoping to do.
Yeah, that really makes a lot of sense, especially if your projects are connected via some sort of technique or method or something like that.
Yeah,
for
sure.
Why write redundant text if you already wrote a good copy of it? And you have to publish anyway, so...
Yeah, at least one. At least, I think most universities, you have to publish at least one paper or submit one paper to get the PhD. I don't really know.
Yeah, it's like demonstrating novel scientific output, which I guess is only done via publishing papers.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, the entire process was just so much.
Yeah, tell me about this process.
Yeah, so, so I collected all of these data over a period of years. And then at one point, I was just looking at everything. Okay, so every year you have to have a committee meeting. And as a graduate student, with your committee members, with your supervisory committee, and these are basically professors who know so much more about everything, and you have to impress them, like, hey, I know things too, right? So I can't remember which committee meeting it was, or I can't recall right now, but for one of them, I was like, oh my God, I don't have anything. So then I looked at this other data set, like the secondary quote unquote data set, and I said, okay, let me see if I can do anything with this. So I just submitted it in my committee report as, I think at that point in time it was just one table of data, and I didn't think anything much of it. I was like, yeah, this is all that I'm going to get. It's just one table. There's not anything here really. But my committee members thought that there were a lot of data embedded in this data set that I had, and they said, Shawn, just explore what you have. This is a very rich data set. Use it and try to get as much out of it as you can, and don't look at it as just one table. And I said, okay, I'll try something. At that point, I was not convinced.
Okay, so if you can unpack that a little bit. So your table had data like... What kind of data did it contain?
All right, so I collected data on breast cancer, specifically in Barbados, over a 10-year period. So I flagged every breast cancer case through these pathology reports. So it's not an electronic system. I had to manually open these big file folders of every single surgery done at the hospital and then flag the cases that were confirmed for breast cancer. And I collected, me and the other co-authors, collected information like age of diagnosis, the grade of the tumor, the stage of the tumor, what was this, like other clinical variables, essentially, that will tell me how aggressive the tumors are in this population. So I just presented it as one table, and they said, Shawn, you have a lot of data, try to explore it a little bit. Like, you have all of these variables, try to tell a story with it and not just present it as one static table. So I took their advice, and I think I got it to 2 tables at this point. And I was like, okay, this is not worthy of publishing. I don't know what to do with this. But I also reached out to one of my committee members who is a statistician, and I was like, hey, can you help me try to make this into something more? Can you help me see what is hidden in this data set? Because at that point, still, I was really lost. And he gave me so many good suggestions, and he took me down to my little notepad, and I was like, oh yeah, great, I'm going to get a paper. And then I started really looking at the data set that I had. But even then, it still felt kind of flat. So then, so this is the process of writing, or my process of writing, I should say. So you kind of have this weird draft, very unfinished. And then you read other papers. Well, you really should be reading all along. But you read other papers and really get a sense of what other people have been doing. What have they been publishing with similar data sets? And I was like, oh, wow, I could really look at this in this particular way with this other angle, this other twist. Yeah, and then I got really excited. And I, compiled the data, and I had it there. But then coming down to actually writing the paper, I felt so dumb, I think is the right word I want to use. I felt like, okay, no one's going to read this. I don't even know why I'm putting energy into writing this. So there was that. Then there was also the fear of rejection. What if I submit it and then it's not worthy? Then I'll have to reject everything. I just felt like this is not good enough, or I was just very fearful, and it took forever to actually write the paper, like forever. I had all of the data there, but I was just scared. I was crippled with fear.
Personally, the thing I'm usually the most frightened of is that somebody's already done it, just I haven't seen it. So, like, is that something? I feel like in your field, so much is published all the time. Yeah,
like I have NCBI alerts on, which alerts me to new papers in my field every week, and it's like, oh my god, someone's going to scoop me. But yeah, that was also a fear of mine. But I was like, okay, you know what? Let me try to do this, and I would say, like, dedicatedly, it took me, it took me really long. I was going to say 2 weeks to write, but I divided the writing into chunks. My supervisor suggested I write the methods first because it's the easiest part of the entire paper, and I said, okay, yeah, sure. So I did that.
Sort of formulaic.
Yeah, so I did that, and it kind of, like, put me on a ball in motion of writing. And then eventually I got it all done. And then after that, you have to send to all of the co-authors. So everyone else on the paper who helped. Oh, boy. Yeah.
So how many co-authors did you have?
So in all, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Okay.
So 2 of my supervisors, and then the clinicians in Barbados that helped collect the data, and 3 research assistants that helped me collect the data as well. So then you have to send to everyone and then get feedback And oh my God, that was also a lot. Trying to combine like these, how many people did I say?
I think you said 9.
9. Trying to combine these 9 Word documents and taking everyone's edits, seeing which parts make sense, seeing which parts don't make sense, then pulling it all together and then sending it to my supervisor again for one more review and then getting it back with so many more edits. It's
How many times do you rinse and repeat with this process?
Okay, so for that period, I would say 3 times. Okay. So I sent to the supervisor again, got feedback. Okay, cool. Oh my God. And then you have to format all of your data, all of the images, the graphs, the figures, the tables, even the Word document into your journal of choice. So that's the second point. Finding the journal that is appropriate for your paper to be published in. And I always think to aim higher than what you think it's worth, and then see if they reject it or not, which is what I did, and they accepted. Yay.
First try?
Yeah, first try.
Nice. Perfect.
Yeah.
No more reformatting.
No more reformatting. So that was stress, but just trying to take everything, all of their suggestions. Actually, I did it even before I submitted it to the co-authors because I was already confident. I was not confident, but I was hopeful that this journal would take my publication. Okay, so then you send it through and you wait. I was checking the website for the status of this article like multiple times a day for 2 weeks. Then they came back and they said, okay, this paper isn't fully rejected, but our reviewers had a few concerns. Please address them and we will consider if your paper is good enough to be published.
Oh, so not even accepted with revisions?
No.
Like still in limbo?
Yeah, so I was nervous. And that took, let me say, a month to get the paper into the, with their reviewers' comments.
Yeah, and how intricate are the comments that reviewers give?
Oh, they're pretty detailed. They're on this line, on page whatever, you said XYZ. Can you explain this some more?
But was there anything structural to the study that they suggested? Okay.
No, thank God.
So it was mostly context and presentation.
Yeah.
How you presented it and things like this.
Yeah. So then I did that. I sent it back on Christmas Day. I sent back the revised version. They responded to me. And then again, I was checking every day the status of this paper. Then they wrote back to me, said, okay, again, this is not a rejection, but just work on this. It was one reviewer comment. And I was like, really? You could not have accepted this? This was so minor. Okay, sent it back 2 days after, and then, yay, they responded today.
Wow.
Well, last night, sorry, about the acceptance. But yeah,
That's pretty quick turnover.
Yeah, honestly, it was pretty good.
That means good paper. Good paper.
Yeah, but I just want to encourage whoever's listening to this, and you too,
Thank
Adam.
you. Yes.
We really underestimate our work. A lot of the time, well, I do. I don't know about you, but it's so easy to feel like no one's going to care, no one's going to read this. But
especially when you spend so much time staring at it.
Yeah.
At this point, for you, what you've presented is old.
Yeah.
Boring, maybe.
Yeah. But, well, okay, not boring.
Yeah.
But for everyone else, it's like, oh my God, what? Yeah, and that's also another tip. You have to, at one point, I just had to put away looking at this paper for, let me say, a week or so, work on other things in the lab, and then get back to it to clear your mind. But yeah, it's possible, and don't think that your work is not good enough.
Yeah, if it goes through all of your collaborators and they don't just shut it down right away, if it goes to your committee, then there must be some merit to it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, congrats.
Yeah, thanks.
And that is...
Wow, the show's done.
Yeah. I wanted to comment on submitting on Christmas Day. There was a Nature study about overworking, countries who overwork based on when things are submitted, like timestamps.
Yeah, well.
And Canada wasn't the highest, but anyway, story for another day.
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks for coming on. Thanks for listening, everyone. And we will see you next week.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Get Lit. Today on the show, the one and only, the esteemed Gary Barwin.